All right, guys, it's Paul Singh, the Market Speculator, with the trade report for March 3rd, 2017, Wednesday, a big Wednesday today. We can see the market's been in a holding pattern under the highs, and for good reason. A ton of stuff today. We had Apple's earnings last night. We've got Facebook today, Tesla today, so some big earnings. Then we've got Yellen talking about interest rates, and we have oil inventories also. So a huge day today. Maybe this sets up the market to run in one direction or the other. Related to Yellen and the Fed, the expectation is no interest rate hike, but talk of hikes in the future. So if she does what's expected, most likely it doesn't have a huge impact. But if something changes, not even just in terms of interest rates this time, but in her comments going forward, that could really impact the market. Oil inventories obviously is going to affect oil and energy, which can affect the market, especially IWM, which is more weighted. So we'll pay attention to that. And then, of course, the earnings with Apple, there finally was a negative reaction in big tech. We can see yesterday, and I don't pay attention to what the news is. I only pay attention to the reaction, and the reaction was, while it's down, it's kind of ho-hum. It didn't get a huge breakdown. It's already run up here, and it's down from 147 to 145. So we're not getting a breakout in Apple, but it's not hugely going to impact the market here. And then today, obviously, we've got Facebook, which is kind of in that same situation where it's already extended going into earnings. And it can happen a lot of times there when it's already extended. Even if there's good news, it won't jump quite as far, or maybe even do something like Apple is doing. So you never know. So Facebook, and then we also have Tesla, which has been a little extended, but has consolidated in here a little bit. And we'll keep an eye out on that. So a lot to process today. We haven't added any positions. I basically just had my 2016 hedge after taking some profits last week. Let's key in on some of the stocks we're watching. Now we're watching earnings breakouts very closely here. You can see some of my list here. These are a few that I've been keyed in on. And I'll just quickly run down. I don't have them on my list yet, but earnings breakouts from yesterday that I'm going to be adding: CGNX, CHGG, CYH, NLS, THC, TXRH, SHOP, MNTA, and Coach, COH. My favorite right now is SHOP. We can see here, nice breakout over the range, a low floater. These are the type I love. We're going to watch this very closely and see if we eventually get an entry that will go on this list. I have two earnings breakouts lists. These are some of the stocks I'm kind of more keyed in on, so we'll watch those very closely. Let me touch on some stocks that I'm liking right now. These are all on our focus list. It hasn't changed. I haven't added anything aside from I'm going to touch on a few of the sectors in a second here. But CMG has been really strong from about 397 to 486, and still it was beaten down so much after the all that news about E. coli. But you can see here, it still has, if it's going to run, it still has a lot of room to run to the upside, and the volume pattern is really changing here. So this could be a good thing. It's getting close to that 500 range, so we could play a break of 500, or just kind of watch a consolidation here and enter within the consolidation at low risk. DWCH, another earnings breakout play that has pulled back and held the 9. I like to see that, and we could play for a move to the top of the range and even a break of that range. SCSS, a very similar pattern here. I'd like to see a little more strength, and another beaten down stock like Chipotle, and that would be Solars. And now that we're touching on Solars, actually let me do Snap first, and then Solars. But Snap has had a really nice run from upper 19s to 2280, around 2280, has pulled back to the 9. I want to see how it reacts here. If it starts to make a push, I may enter here. So that would be we got that first move. Now let's see if it can prove itself, and then maybe it makes a run to 24. So we'll be watching that. Now back to Solars. FSLR. Solars have been beaten down, showing a lot of strength, testing that 50-day moving average. Maybe this was capitulation here, and now we're seeing an uptick in volume over the average volume here. So that's pretty good. And Oh, wow. Looks like I didn't even notice this. Pre-market, it's gapping up to 32, so we're going to get up over the 50. So a little higher than I'd like, but we're getting that break now, and we can see some of the other solars too are starting to wake up. So we're going to start adding solars. We were talking about the new sectors that are emerging. Solars is one of them. Trucking has been a good sector. We can see SAIA had run up here and now it's pulled back to the 50 and held. Swift, it's kind of a weird pattern here, but this was an earnings breakout, pulled back really hard, and now it's testing this high right in here. And there's a bunch of other trucking stocks that are looking good. Solar's a few more. Here's an IPO, said G, that has woken up. That'll be on our radar, and SPWR is also breaking from that bottoming formation. And then we've also got internet content. IAC broke out. I think that was earnings. So we'll watch for an earnings pattern there. WUBA breaking over its 50-day moving average rate over its 50. Shop is an internet content stock. And even stocks like Amazon, Netflix, all those guys are big tech, but they're also related to internet. So a good sector there to keep an eye on. So we're watching solar, we're watching internet content. We've already talked about hotels and casinos. Wynn had great earnings. LVS here is lagging a bit, but looking strong. We've got MGM here also looking very strong, and a few others. So those are four sectors we're going to start watching a little more closely now, as they showed a lot of strength. And then after the Yellen report today, we'll pay attention to what financials are doing. If we look at FAS, under the 50 here. If there's good news when it gets up over the 50, maybe we take a shot at financials as well. So that is it for the trade report today. At some point here, I'm going to start building positions, but let's get the news out of the way today.